That's the voice of KPCC reporter Josie Huang as she was being arrested by LA County Sheriff's deputies outside of St. Francis Medical Center in Linwood last night. At the time, Huang was recording this cell phone video of deputies arresting a man. While on the ground, you can hear Huang say she's a reporter.
I'm a reporter. I'm the KPCC.
At the time, the sheriff's department tweeted that the reporter didn't identify herself as press. They said she ran towards deputies and ignored repeated commands to stay back.
Back up. Back up. Back up. Ow! Ow!
In a series of tweets today, Huang said she was wearing a lanyard with a press ID and was recording a man's arrest when deputies suddenly shouted back up. She added within seconds she was shoved to the ground. Minutes earlier, Huang was recording this interaction between a small group of men and deputies who were standing guard at the entrance of the hospital where two fellow deputies were being treated after being shot at a Blue Line metro station in Compton.
Unreal, guys. Everyone heard from that clip her repeatedly identify herself as a journalist, but cops are pretending that they didn't hear that. They're just trying to retaliate because two police officers were shot, which is wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. But then they take it out on a reporter. Here are more details from LAist, which is the publication that this reporter works for and was doing reporting for, which cops are trying to gaslight America about, the LAPD, and pretend that, no, that wasn't the reality. We definitely didn't notice her press badge and her repeated attempts to tell us that she was a member of the press. Even as she was being thrown to the ground, Huang, who was wearing a lanyard with her press credential hanging from her neck, was recording the encounter. In video that continued to film after her phone was knocked from her hand, Huang can be heard repeatedly identifying herself as a reporter and shouting KPCC several times. You can also hear Huang yelling, "You're hurting me," and crying out in pain. The incident occurred outside St. Francis Medical Center in Linwood, where the two deputies were being treated for gunshot wounds, the two deputies that were shot. Huang had just finished covering a 10 p.m. news conference by Sheriff Alex Villanueva and other department officials. Sheriff's officials alleged that Huang, an award-winning journalist, obstructed justice. The department initially refused to provide details of what happened, but later confirmed that deputies took Huang into custody on suspicion of obstruction of justice by interfering with a lawful arrest. Huang said she was trying to document the arrest of a protester, an account in line with her video from the scene. Deputy Juanita Navarro said Huang didn't have proper credentials, but she was clearly wearing press credentials around her neck. A tweet from the sheriff's department at 2:19 a.m. Sunday includes a false claim that Huang did not identify herself as a journalist. Huang told deputies at least 5 separate times that she was a reporter and KPCC staffer in less than a minute, according to the recording. Video from ABC7 shows at least 5 deputies pinning Huang to the pavement, handcuffing her and placing her in a patrol car. Huang's phone fell to the ground as she was being arrested, and deputies appear to have stepped on it multiple times as it continued to record. Jesus. Huang was taken to the women's jail at the Century Regional Detention Center. She was released at about 4 a.m. without bail, but was cited for an obstruction charge. A KPCC newsroom executive said Huang had visible bruises and scrapes, a sore shoulder, and a blackened eye. So this should be the top story, right? Journalists protecting other journalists, standing up. I heard so much from CNN reporters about how Trump was threatening press freedoms. He is. Cops, authoritarians like the LAPD are also threatening press freedoms. This is outrageous. It needs to be condemned over and over again, and this should be a national story about members of the press being assaulted by police for doing their jobs. This happens repeatedly, and it's been happening over and over. I saw it happen at Standing Rock. It's happened at Black Lives Matter protests throughout the country, and this is just another instance of it. And this isn't in some rural Tennessee town. This is the LAPD behaving as it has historically for years and years, as an occupying, brutal force that does not care about the Constitution or the law.